Walking through the parking lot toward the little club she and Susan had opened 6 months ago, Tanya Foster smiled with pride. They'd worked hard to open the Esoteric, a club catering to those who had alternative belief systems, and those who were just curious about esoteric things in general. The Esoteric opened every afternoon at 3 and closed most nights at midnight. It was open 6 nights a week, except on nights of the full moon and the new moon. With the following week's full moon party coming up, Tanya let the sun warm her face as she headed for the side door, thinking only about whether to have a palm reader or a fortune teller as the main attraction. Stepping into the dim interior, she walked through the kitchen and into the office. After putting away her purse and putting on her apron, Tanya stepped into the dining area. A man sat at the corner table near a window. She stopped. No one was supposed to be inside except her and Susan. The man smiled and gave a small wave. He looked very familiar, but it was hard to see who he was. The light from the windows mostly obscured his face. "Can I help you with something?" A million thoughts ran through her head as she reached under the bar for the knife she kept there. "I'm waiting for Susan to bring out more paperwork." He pointed toward the room where they kept the hiring forms, extra shirts that read the Esoteric across the back and front, aprons, and the cleaning supplies. Susan stepped out and waved the papers. "I found them." She turned to Tanya. "Hey, Tanya, new hire here. I'll let you train him since he's going to be your help in the kitchen." She grinned and laid the papers in front of the man. "The name's Marcus. Nice to meet you, Tanya," he called across the room. It was him. Tanya hated him. They had been enemies all through high school. Sure, high school had been over for the last 8 years, but some things are hard to put behind you. His constant taunting and bedevilment through school were things Tanya could not put behind her. Turning on her heel, she headed for the office. "Susan, could I speak to you?" Susan followed her into the office, and Tanya closed the door behind them before she exploded. "What the hell were you thinking? You can't hire him! We'll have each other killed!" Tanya fought to keep her voice to a level below screaming. "You know him?" Susan asked. Tanya smacked her forehead with her hand. "Duh! Yes, I freaking know him. We went to high school together. He hated me, and I liked him even less. He's an ass, and you'll regret hiring him. Go tell him we found someone else." Tanya put her hands on her hips and glared at Susan. Susan shook her head. "I can't do that. I hired him last week. He put in a notice at his other job at Jack's to come work with us. Listen, high school was a long time ago. Maybe he's changed." Susan crossed her arms over her chest. "Unbelievable. Marcus Ramsey. He made me miserable all through school. You'll fire him before a week is up. I guarantee you'll hate him after a few days. He'll show us his true colors shortly." "Was that a wager? Are we making a bet here?" Susan grinned at Tanya. "Maybe. What are we wagering? Name the terms." Tanya countered. "It's your bet. You name the terms, girlie." "Fine, I will." Tanya thought about it for a minute. She had to be careful. Susan was a very literal gambler and would technicality her to death. "All right, I bet that you fire him inside of a month. If you don't, I will close the club by myself for a month, and you can go home every night at midnight and walk your doggy, watch a movie, whatever floats your tame little boat." Tanya smirked, knowing how much Susan hated closing duties that sometimes kept them there until 2 a.m. "That's a tempting deal, but I think if you lose the bet, you and Mr. Ramsey should close the place every night for a month. Together."